Well, hello everybody and welcome back to my channel. I'm Kathy and this is my channel Persevering Daily, and I pretty much just called it that because I'm not really an expert at any of the stuff I try to do, but I keep on persevering and trying. So today I'm just going to do a simple little cooking video. Very simple because I'm not a very great cook or anything, but I'm going to just make some very simple tacos. It's one of my husband's favorites, and I have some ground beef. I originally planned to make chicken tacos, which I am going to put some chicken meat in here too. So you'll kind of see how we'll end up with both, and we can just kind of pick which one we want, if we want beef or chicken. Now, it's just my husband and me that are going to eat this, and so it's going to be a lot more than the two of us need for one meal or even two. So what I do is, a lot of times when I do make tacos, I make a lot of extra meat just because it's cheaper to buy the meat in a larger container. But then what I do is I'll save some of that meat up in the freezer and I'll pull it out sometimes and I'll make nachos, or sometimes I just, put it with rice and maybe add some beans to it or something and a little bit of cheese on top. There's a lot of different things I've done with just the taco meat. So even make a pizza with it. So you're going to see a lot more taco meat than what we're really going to eat for tonight for our tacos. But anyway, I have my little coffee cup apron on. I'll show you that. It has a little ruffle here. I like it. It's really cute. I have kind of a collection of different aprons, and this one I haven't worn in a while, so I thought I'd wear this because I make a pretty big mess when it's anything that involves oil, which this will, when I'm doing the tortillas, because I heat them up one at a time with a little bit of oil, and I'm notorious for splattering oil on myself. So I'm going to go ahead and get started, and I will show you what I'm going to use. Okay, so to make these tacos, what I'm going to use is I have some ground beef chuck, and it is the 80% lean. That seems to be like the little bit higher fat content is definitely what you need for good tacos. I've tried it with the lean meat, that extra lean, the 93% and stuff, and it just turns out so dry that I don't care for it. So I do a lot of other things that are lean, but for tacos and things like that, I'm going to use the bad stuff. And so here's my corn tortillas that I'm going to make for the shells. They're soft corn tortillas. This is just the Great Value taco seasoning. Now, Walmart has two different brands of taco seasoning, and I almost bought the other one, which was just a little bit more expensive. This one was only 33 cents for the package, and I think it's just as good. So I got that. I'm going to use a little bit of olive oil when I'm doing the tortillas. There's my lettuce, my tomatoes. We're going to have some pre-made guacamole to put on the tacos if we want, and sour cream. I don't really have to have those out yet because obviously I haven't even cooked the meat yet, but I just put it out to show you oh, and I've got cheese. And so I just put here to show you all the different things that I'm going to use. All right, so I'm going to get started. Okay, so I'm going to be chopping up my tomatoes while I'm cooking the ground beef. I'm not an expert at chopping anything. I don't do all the fancy stuff, so it's just basically chopping tomatoes. So I'm gonna cut up the lettuce too. I chopped up all the tomatoes, and when I do the lettuce, I actually kind of talked about this another time on one of my other videos. Back when I was in high school, they had a class called home ec. I don't even know if they still have it anymore, but they taught us half of the year they taught us how to cook and wash dishes and things like that, just things you'd need to run a house. The other half of the year they taught us how to sew. I really was horrible at the sewing, but I wasn't too bad at the cooking and the cleaning part. One of the things they told us was don't ever cut lettuce, because they said when you cut lettuce, it makes the ends go brown faster and everything. And so for many years I didn't do it, and I just kind of ripped it. But honestly, I'm a lazy cook now. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually chop up the lettuce, and that's what I've been doing for a long time. And it actually probably does make the ends, you know, get a little more wilted, but it's just the quicker way to do it, and it makes it smaller pieces, and I like it that way. So I'm going to go ahead and cut up this lettuce. When I'm going to add the taco seasoning and a little bit of water. So I'm going to go ahead and kind of break up these bigger pieces and let it brown up a little bit more, and then I'll show you when I add the taco seasoning. So I have been chopping and stirring away at this to break down those big pieces. And in a minute, when I add the taco seasoning and the water, it's going to break it down a little bit more. You might hear Josie in the background. She's kind of whining because she doesn't get to come in here. But there's two reasons I don't let her come in here while I'm cooking. Hang on, I've got to put this down for just a second. Okay, two reasons I don't let her come in here while I'm cooking. Number one, she gets up under my feet, and one of these days, I'm going to go crashing down over her. Number two, my husband doesn't like her in the kitchen. He says dogs don't belong in the kitchen, and it's his kitchen too, so he gets to have a say. So, okay, so I'm ready to add my taco seasoning now. Sometimes people drain the meat first. I don't really do that. If you want the healthier version, you do that. But if you're like me and you probably aren't going to have the healthier version, then I'm just going to leave that oil in there. I took a little bit of the meat out for Josie to have a little treat before I add this taco seasoning, because she doesn't need the seasoning. I'm going to cut some water. Okay, now just a little bit of water. Alright, so I'm going to add this taco seasoning like that and stir. Get it all kind of saturated in there real good. You're going to get some in a minute, Josie. I hear you. But you don't get the taco seasoning. I think it has onion powder in it. Dogs can't have that. Okay, so I'm going to add a little bit of water. Actually, I'll probably add a little bit more than that in a minute. But you put the water in, and that supposedly is the secret. Adding that little bit of water is the secret to breaking it down a little bit more so that those big chunks kind of fall apart. The ones that didn't get chopped up good enough. So I'll probably add a little bit more. And then I'm just going to simmer this for a little bit. Let it get good and melded together. Now also over here, I finished cutting up my lettuce. So there's that, and there's all the tomatoes. And after this cooks down a little bit more, when all of that is ready, I'm gonna just kind of cover it and put it aside. Now I'm gonna throw some chicken. What I'm gonna do, I'm a huge proponent of not dirtying up any more dishes than I have to. So what I'm gonna do in a minute is I'll just kind of move aside some of this meat, and I already have that pre-cooked rotisserie chicken, that the shredded stuff that I got at Walmart the other day, and I'm just going to put a little bit of that on the side and kind of mix it together with the flavoring, and then that way that'll be, you know, the chicken taco meat, and I don't have to dirty up another pan, because I am going to use another small frying pan for these taco shells, and I'm going to show you how I do those. Alright, so this is what the meat looks like after I've added the water and let it simmer for a little while and did a little more stirring and chopping, and it is pretty finely broken up now. I just knocked Josie's taco meat everywhere. I'll have to pick it up in a minute. But you can see it's pretty finely chopped. And okay, this is this deli. It was a rotisserie chicken that they sell at Walmart that's already chopped up. And I thought it was going to be this brilliant idea to buy this stuff and use it in some different recipes, and it was going to save me the time of picking through it off of the rotisserie chicken or cooking the chicken myself and all that. And I will tell you this, I would not buy it again. I was kind of disappointed in it because it's like and I'm sure this is what they did. They just pull it off of there, they don't really look at it, and they just start chopping it up, or, you know, pulling it apart. Well, that means it still has, like, I think it's like still got some of the skin on, which I don't like that. And like, I don't know what the real name for it is, but I always called it like the gristle, which I know that's what you call it with beef, but I don't really know what you call it with chicken. But like, I don't know, it's just, it's not the meat that you can really eat, and I just don't want to get like a big mouthful of that rubbery stuff that you can't chew and can't eat. So what I did was I further went through it and picked through it. So I am not going to waste it, but every time I use it, I'm having to pick through it and pull out some and then go through it to get rid of all that stuff. So I won't buy it again, but I'm going to use it up. So here's what I'm going to do for the chicken taco part. I'm just going to drop this meat in here, and I'm just going to let it kind of soak up these juices. Again, this is not the healthy version, you guys. This is grease in here, and like I said, you could drain it if you're, you know, watching your grease and all that intake, but I'm really not worried about it tonight. We're just gonna eat it for taste, not really for health tonight. So I'm gonna let that cook down a little bit more, and then I'm gonna show you guys how I make the soft shells. And that's really, to me, the most time-consuming part of this whole thing, but it really is worth it to me, the way that I do it. The way that my mom did it and her mom did it, and I really think it enhances the flavor. I don't really care for like the pre-made, store-bought hard taco shells or anything like that. So I'm going to show you how I take these and do them one at a time to soften them up, and they are delicious this way. It just takes a long time. So you can still do all the rest of this with just the pre-made taco shells, but it's worth it to do it the way I'm going to show you. Okay, so to make these softened taco shells, what I do is I always get the yellow corn tortillas. I'm assuming, you know, I've done it with the white corn tortillas too, and it's the same way. It's just as good. So what I do is I get my little pan. I have a little small pan here, which is perfect for this. And you get it good and hot. And then what you're going to do is you're going to take just a little bit of oil. Any kind of oil will work. Okay, and I just kind of roll it around a little bit and get it pretty good and coated. And then I take one corn tortilla at a time, and I put it on there, and I let that kind of heat. Now, I forgot, this is my plate that I'm going to put them on, and I usually put like a paper towel in there, but I forgot. So it's not the end of the world if you don't put a paper towel, but it helps to soak up some of the oil. Okay, so you just let it go for a little bit, and then you flip it over. Do the other side, and I don't get them crispy. I just get them a little bit softened. And this is kind of like making pancakes, okay? The first one sometimes is your experiment, and then the others do better as your pan gets a little more heated. Okay, so I'll go ahead and take this one out, and that one used up a lot of my oil, so I'm gonna put a little more oil. You don't have to put oil every time. I usually add a little oil in between about every 2, but that one soaked up quite a bit. Okay, that one's got a hole in it. All right, so I'm gonna throw the next one in there. Just let it sizzle a little bit. You don't have to leave them in here long at all. And you can get them a little bit crispy if you want. I've tried it a lot of different ways. I've tried just, putting them with a wet paper towel and heating them in the microwave. I've tried doing them in the oven so I can do a bunch at one time. And then, guys, just nothing works as good as this. That's a little hole there. Okay, and I do them one at a time, and it is so worth it. They really taste good when you do them this way. So I'm gonna keep going, and I'm gonna make all of my corn tortillas like this, and then I'm gonna get the cheese, and the meat's already ready, so everything will pretty much be ready to put together. Okay, so there is the finished product. These are my beef tacos, and then there's the chicken, and you can see that it did soak up some of that delicious taco seasoning. And then in the middle I put a little bit of the sour cream and the guacamole. And so I'm gonna go enjoy these now, but before I do, I pulled out some meat before I put taco seasoning in it for Josie. And so I'm going to reward her patience by taking her and giving that to her, and then I can eat. So that's it, guys. I hope that you enjoyed watching me make those tacos, and that you got some ideas from there. And that's just one of the meals that when all of my kids were little, I have 4 kids, and finding something that everybody would eat was always hard, but that is the one thing I could make that nobody complained about. And it was easy to make a lot of it. The only thing is I did make those taco shells one at a time. That took a while, but then got wise after a while, and I'd make a certain number of taco shells, and then after those shells were gone, then you had taco salad. Or maybe some Dorito chips or something with some of the taco meat and stuff on the top. So I got smarter later on. But anyway, I always loved to do that for my family, and I hope you will try this, and I hope you enjoy it. Leave me some comments down below for some of maybe the meals that your kiddos, everybody seems to like and eat. And I will talk to you next time. All right, bye-bye.